My husband's ex-wife is trying to get child support from me, and you won't even believe how far she goes to get it. And she thinks that I'm just gonna fork it over. Well, how about this? How about I take you to court and we fight for it because, well, I might as well if you're gonna tell me I owe you anyways. But when I told her I'm actually serving her papers to show up at court, you won't believe what she said. If there's one thing I hate, it's people who do not know the time and place for doing things. Context is very important. You know, one cannot bring matters that require a lot of energy up while someone's grieving. That's disrespectful, and I have every right to ignore a person who tries to stress me while I'm mourning my husband. Should I have been nicer to his ex-wife? Maybe, but it's kind of hard to be nice because I'm dealing with so many emotions right now. You must be wondering what the hell I'm going on about. Sorry, it's kind of hard from a logical thought right now because I'm so angry. I feel incredibly disrespected when all I've ever done is be respectful, because I'm having an issue with my late husband's ex-wife who's demanding child support from me, even though my husband passed away only a month ago. Dante. Yeah, Dante passed on last month at 34 when a building collapsed on him. He did not even make it to the hospital and passed away instant, they say. His neck. I got a call about the incident while I was at work, but by the time I got to the scene, he was no more. Seeing his lifeless body was like something out of a nightmare. I never thought that I would be so helpless in my life. I was incredibly heartbroken because we had just gotten married 2 months prior. Dante had been so excited about the wedding because he believed it was his second chance at happiness. His marriage with his ex-wife Helen did not work out. They had a 7-year-old daughter together. Throughout my entire relationship with Dante, Helen was always present. She was the typical troublesome baby mother. She used every opportunity she could to get money out of him and disturb our plans. You know, despite all of this, I was always very gracious and welcoming towards Tasha, their daughter, because none of this was her fault. I was even okay with Tasha visiting us for the holidays because she was also part of my family, despite how cordial I was. Helen never liked me. She told me that many had come before me and I would not get that ring. When Dante and I announced our engagement, she almost had a heart attack. I remember the incredulous look on her face. She could not even hide it. When she congratulated us, we could tell that it was obviously not genuine. One could see that she never liked me, that's for sure. Not from the beginning, although I was very indifferent towards her. When Dante passed away, she reached out to me because she understood my pain. Well, due to their history, he still had a special place in her heart, obviously. She was the only person that I could speak to about exactly how I felt at that time. Well, I did not feel as if anyone else understood the pain that I was in. Even then, the grief overtook me, and I still think that it's much still here. You know, I've not been myself for a very long time. I've been trying to finish off the paperwork and settle his estate, which has also been very draining for me. I wish that I could leave it for time when I feel strong, but it's impossible. You see, I've been just handling his estate for the past month, and I'm nearly done now. Dante left the college trust fund for his daughter, but he left everything else to me. I now own his house, car, and all of his savings, of course, and when Helen found out about this, her friendliness suddenly disappeared. She had the nerve to ask me when I got a chance to tell Dante to change his will. I reprimanded her for even insinuating that I could influence him. I didn't know when Dante decided to change his will, but that was his own choice. If he had left me nothing, I would have been fine. It wasn't my fault that he was always a stickler for the details. You know, Helen kept on making assumptions about Dante's will to the point where I stopped interacting with her. The only time I did so was when we bumped into each other at the mall. When I saw her, I would immediately go in the opposite direction. I figured that if I ignored her, she would go away, but that was not the case. She was just thinking of an even greater horror to unleash upon me. A few days ago, Helen brought Tasha to visit me. She claimed that Tasha missed me a lot, so I allowed her to bring the child. I assumed that Helen was not going to stay, so imagine my shock when she made herself at home. She started commenting about how nice the house looked. She asked me if I had started redecorating already, and she then said that it must be nice to not have to struggle financially. Well, at this point, I started to wonder what she intended by her comments. That's when she said that she had been struggling to take care of Tasha. Dante used to pay child support, but now that he was no more, Tasha was not getting any child support. She had assumed that I would continue paying child support, but so far I had not. I told her that with all due respect, Tasha was not my biological child and I was not obliged to support her. In addition to that, her father left her a sufficient sum of money for college. To add to that, Helen had a well-paying job. I was sure that she could spare a couple more bucks to take care of her child. Helen was gobsmacked at my words. She told me that she could not believe that I would be so cruel to a child whose father had just passed away. I told her that right now was not the best time to be asking me about this. I had only just finished sorting out Dante's estate, and I was also going to have extra expenses because Dante was no longer here to help with the bills. Her asking me for money right now was not helping. Her response was that I was being selfish and unreasonable. She claimed that I've been waiting for a day just like this when I could make Tasha suffer just because I was her stepmother. Well, I defended my affection for Tasha to Helen. I told her that right now things were not looking great financially, but if she could just revisit this topic with me later on, then we could work something out. Well, obviously, she did not want to hear this, which only frustrated me and I lost it. The next thing I knew, I saw red. I asked Helen if this was why she was sucking up to me during the funeral. Was she trying to ensure that I would keep on paying Tasha's child support? Or was she trying to get more money out of me? She denied all of this and claimed that I was accusing her of things that she would never do. So, this was when I reminded her of how she made my relationship with Dante difficult from the very beginning. She stole date nights, drained him of money, and showed up to his house unannounced. And she did everything to sabotage our relationship, but we still prevailed. From the very beginning, she's always tried to make things difficult for me, because she just straight up resents me. She knows that she can afford to take care of Tasha, yet she wants to put that on me? I love Tasha, but she's not my biological child. She's also not an orphan. Her mother is alive and thriving financially. Helen then claimed that I was making things up about her finances. She said that she had tons of expenses and debts that I knew nothing about. So, okay, I asked her if she was the only person in the world with expenses because I had them as well. In addition to those expenses, I was dealing with my grief and trying to keep my job. I was struggling to even get through the day. She did not need to pile all this stress on top of me like that, and all I was asking was for her to revisit this with me in a couple of months when I was doing a bit better emotionally. Only then we could figure out a plan that would work for both of us because I actually wanted to help Tasha. Well, all of my words went right through Helen's ears, and she took Tasha and left. Before leaving, she told Tasha that I did not want her in the house, which was not true. I tried to explain to myself and Tasha, but she just walked away. Now, my husband's daughter hates me because of her difficult mom, and now I'm stuck here with all these messed up thoughts in my mind. And first, I'm still dealing with my husband's loss, and now I can't stop thinking if I overreacted in this whole situation. I honestly don't know what to do about this entire thing. I don't want Tasha to hate me forever, but I also don't know what I can do to avoid it. What do you guys think? Did I overreact? Or did I do the right thing to call Helen out on her behavior? More importantly, what should I do next? What's up, everybody? I'm going to show you a comment that comes from a user named Margaret Duke. And guys, you're not going to believe what Margaret has to say. Here it is. I'm sorry for the loss of your husband. I really am. I hope that with time you're actually going to start to heal. I understand that you're grieving. However, I think you should help Helen out. Even if it's just with a little bit of remembering that Tasha is your husband's daughter and your stepdaughter. When you married him, you also married his problem, so just because he's no longer alive doesn't mean that Tasha is no longer your daughter. She needs your support because she has just lost her dad. I'm certain that you and Helen can iron out your differences and be there for her. I'm sure that with a bit of understanding, you two can co-parent if you don't have a lot of money to help. Just give the little that you can. I'm sure that Helen would appreciate it. Guys, let me know what you think about that comment. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. There's an update. Update 1. It came out 2 months later. Here it is. Update number 1. Hey guys. So, it's 2 months after my previous post, and in these 2 months, I've started to heal. I've also been supporting Tasha with the little that I can. I read all your comments, and they helped me out to make a decision. I think that I was being hard on Tasha because of my rocky relationship with Helen. So, it's not her fault that her mother and I do not get along. I mean, come on. At the end of the day, she lost her dad, and I need to be there for her. After some thinking, I reached out to Helen to find out how much she would need. I could not give the full amount that Dante used to, but I could give what I had. I had to move some things around, but eventually I had enough money to spend for Tasha. Over the past 2 months, I've been paying child support to Helen. It's been going well, and she's been keeping me updated on Tasha. I see Tasha every other weekend and spend time with her without Helen. The poor child is very sad about her dad. She's at the point where she understands that he is in heaven, but she also misses him a lot. It's also difficult for her because Helen does not have any pictures of him at her house. When I found out about this, I decided to give her a few pictures of my own. Well, I meant to do no harm by it, I just wanted the child to have a picture of her dad. However, Helen messaged me very angry, asking me when I asked permission to give her those photos. I figured that Helen would not have an issue with it because, well, Dante was Tasha's dad. Helen explained that she did not like having pictures of her ex around and that I should have consulted her before doing such a thing. I felt as if she was overreacting, but I backed down. Instead, I decided to create a photo album for Tasha. When she's older, she can have it. This issue with the photo is not the only instance where I've butted heads with Helen. She has increasingly asked for more money because of extra cost. When I told her I didn't have the spare money, she would guilt trip me. I had to remind her of the agreements that we made. I'm not even supposed to be helping her out, I'm just doing it out of the kindness of my heart. And if she continues to be like this, then I'll stop helping her altogether. I don't know why I was so stupid to think that she would be so grateful. Has Helen ever been grateful for anything in her life? No, she's always been entitled. She feels as if everyone owes her something even though they do not. She feels as if she deserves the money and it's not that thankful at all. I don't want to go back on my word, but I'm tired of dealing with her. If it's not about the money, then she's fussing over Tasha. She complains every time Tasha leaves my house and claims that I'm teaching her bad manners. The poor child just lost her dad. Doesn't she deserve a little ice cream? That's right, she blew off at me the other day just because I gave Tasha a little bit of ice cream on a hot day. She told me that I was trying to fatten up her baby, as a little ice cream could hurt. I tried to reason with her and remind her. You know, Tasha is in mourning. She just needed little pick-me-ups here and there. To this, Helen tells me not to tell her how to parent, so I backed down. I didn't want her to stop Tasha's visitation, so I'm going to back down for now on, but I don't know for how long I can take all of Helen's crazy antics. Update number 2, 1 month later. So, that's it. I've absolutely had it. I'm not going to pay any more child support for Tasha. Not when her mother is so ungrateful. I've never met such an entitled person in my life. Remember how I told you that she was demanding more money? It's only gotten worse and it's just been a month. In addition to that, she's decided to hire a lawyer to hassle me. It seems like things have escalated even though it's only been a month, right? I know, even I'm still trying to make sense of all of this happening, so. A few weeks ago, Helen demanded that I double the child support money. She claimed that it was not enough to cover all of Tasha's basic expenses. Apparently, she knew I could afford much more and did not appreciate the fact that I was skimping. Well, I had a few choice words to say to her that I will not repeat here, but the gist of it was that I reminded her to be grateful for what I was giving her in the first place. We had a back and forth, which ended up with her claiming that she was going to sue me for child support. So I dared her to, because I was more than ready to die on this hill. I didn't really think that she was going to sue me, so imagine my surprise when I get an email from her lawyer demanding that I double the child support money. Her lawyer threatened me with legal action if I did not do so as she was saying. I told the lawyer that I was going to do no such thing. I might as well have opened up a can of worms. So, over the past few weeks, Helen and her lawyer have taken turns to harass me. Her lawyer is bordering on being unprofessional due to her threats. She's threatening to have me thrown in jail and to seize all my assets. I don't think she can do that just because of child support. I've told them repeatedly to leave me alone because I'm not going to be paying anything more than what I'm already paying. In fact, they're pushing me to the point of refusing to pay a single dollar more than I already have. Even a debt collector would not have harassed me like they have been. I'm extremely tired and this is stressing me. Every morning I wake up to tons of messages from Helen insulting me and threatening me. The threats have escalated to the point of threatening to incite physical violence upon me. After receiving several of those threats, I was extremely scared, so I decided to consult my own lawyer. I really did not want to get the law involved in all this, because a legal battle is the last thing I want right now, but they have forced my hand. I've had no choice, but to spend my hard-earned money that I don't have to pay the lawyer. I'm actually glad that I did, because my lawyer told me that what they're doing is not legal at all. Unless I adopted Tasha, I'm not legally obliged to pay child support for her. Only her biological parents are required. Even though Dante has passed on, the responsibility does not fall upon my shoulders. I should have never paid a dime in the beginning. I hate myself for not investigating the matter further in the beginning of this. The way that Helen was harassing me made me feel as if I was 100% obliged to pay support. I should have done more research before giving in to her demands. Unfortunately, she has made a big mistake by involving the law in this. I've decided to just be, petty. I'm going to take her to court, and I want to take her there. I want to win, and have her give me back all the money that I spent. I can't believe that she had the nerve to disrespect me like that. Her ego is so massive that she thinks she can bully me into paying double the amount that I've been paying. In addition to that, she's been illegally intimidating me. I'm not going to have sleepless nights because of her and that bootleg lawyer that she hired. I'm going to take them to court and make them regret their actions and take them to the cleaners. I'll keep you guys updated about what goes on next. Update number 3. 1 month later. Hey guys. I've got some scorching hot tea for you that might burn your mouth. You're not going to believe what had just happened. So, remember how a month back I consulted a lawyer regarding Helen and the lawyer's intimidation? Afterward, I decided to open a case against them for harassment. My lawyer did all the necessary things and they were served with papers. As soon as they received those papers, I get a call from Helen. She was panicking and asking me why I had to take it this far. I had to remind her that she was the one who wanted to go to court in the first place, and she was the one who told her lackey lawyer to harass me and threaten me with court. So I was just giving her what she wanted. I wasn't going to take her intimidation anymore. If I have to pay double the child support, then I would rather a judge tell me than her. Helen suddenly changed her tune and asked if we could just meet up and discuss this issue like adults. Obviously, I had no interest in talking to her anymore. The only time I was going to meet her was in court, so I told her that negotiations are closed, and we would not continue this unless it's in court. So shortly after, my lawyer contacts me and tells me that Helen's lawyer could not represent her. I asked her what she meant by that, and that's when she tells me that Helen's lawyer was actually her niece who was in law school. She had been paid to pretend to be a lawyer by Helen so that I could be intimidated. When she got served the court papers, she panicked and asked my lawyer to not take the matter further. Apparently, she begged and pleaded my lawyer not to tell me because I was going to take legal actions against her. Obviously, well, I say obviously with capital letters, My lawyer is obligated to tell me everything regarding the case. Duh! Besides, it was not up to me because she broke the law. It's illegal to pretend to be a lawyer and intimidate people. Come on. As someone who's in law school, she should know that. I had no choice but to disclose this information when the matter finally went to court. In addition to that, I had messages and emails from both of them which prove that they've been threatening me. As you can imagine, the judge did not take kindly to any of what was going on, and she was even more insulted by Helen's niece's pretense of being a lawyer. So, because of that, the state filed separate cases against her, and firstly, she and Helen got fined for harassing me. They also got restraining orders put against them. If either of them contact me in person or online ever again, they're going to face jail time. In addition to that, they have to pay me back all the money that I sent for child support because I wasn't supposed to be paying it in the first place. Helen's niece, on the other hand, had just made the biggest mistake of her life. All of her years studying to be a lawyer have just gone down the drain. She was academically expelled and disbarred. She can never study law ever again. Her actions proved a lack of integrity and respect for the law profession. She was used as an example of what not to do as a law student. Can you imagine losing so many years of your education just because you wanted to play lawyer? I almost felt sorry for her. I could imagine how crushed she was because her dreams had no chance of ever coming to reality. She now had to start over when she was so close to achieving everything that she ever wanted. She should have just stopped contacting me when I told her. She should have never doubled down and insulted me even further. She should not have made baseless threats when she knew that she could not fulfill her bluff. Now she's lost everything, all because of her and Aunt Helen. Did they really think that they were going to come out victorious in this? Update number 4. 1 week later, this is the final update. I really thought that everything was sorted out, but there's one last thing that I need to share with you guys. Think of it as my way of thanking you all for your support throughout this entire mess. The whole thing was not even supposed to happen. If only Helen had been satisfied with the little that I kindly gave her, she would not be in the hospital right now. You must be thinking, whoa, when did she get into the hospital? Remember her niece? Her niece's parents were not very happy about her getting disbarred because of helping Helen. You can imagine the amount of time, money, and resources that they've spent in helping their daughter get into law school. But now she has no chance of ever becoming a lawyer. You can imagine that they were upset. Helen's sister was so mad that she attacked Helen at her workplace. She waited for her after work and attacked her in an empty parking lot. By the time security managed to even get to her, it was already too late. Yeah, Helen had a broken nose and really messed up ribs. In addition to that, her face was incredibly messed up. It turns out that Helen's sister, who I've always thought was a sweetheart, can pack a punch. I mean, I guess anyone can pack a punch if their child's future has just been ruined because of a stupid adult who should have known better. The point of the matter is that Helen should have known better to involve her niece in all this. She should have asked me, I don't know, one of her friends to pretend to be a lawyer if she needed to do so desperately. Oh, better yet, she should have never demanded more money in the first place. I'm pretty sure that she just needed more money so that she could continue living her little unsustainable life. It's no secret that she loves designer clothing and expensive trips. Dante and I have always suspected that she used part of Tasha's money to fund her little lifestyle, but we never said anything because Tasha was well taken care of. Now, her house of cards is crumbling down and I don't feel a tad bit bad about it. This is what she deserves for harassing me while I was grieving and trying to get money out of me. In addition to that, she dared to intimidate me for months. I was just trying to help her, for goodness sake. She had no mercy for me, and thus, I have no mercy for her.